Let's take a closer look at auto routing. I have in my rack a subtractor that's feeding into a phasor and then into a reverb. The phasor and the reverb are both set to bypass. All effects have a little bypass switch, which will bypass the effect. And then I can turn them on. You can even automate them. So that's the phasor. And there's the reverb. Below that, I have a Thor, and the Thor is feeding a flanger. This is with the flanger bypassed, and now with the chorus flanger on. And finally, I have a Dr. Octarex, and that's connected to an EQ and a maximizer. Let's turn on the EQ. We're just boosting some of the lows and highs. And then let's turn on the maximizer, which brings up the level. So when instruments are connected to effects like they are here, they're called device groups. And we have 3 device groups: the subtractor and its effects, the Thor and its effects, and the Octarex. Quiz time. What happens if we move the reverb from here down next to the chorus? What will Reason do? Well, let's look at the back of the rack. You can see here that the phasor is still connected to the reverb, and the reverb is still connected back to the mixer. So the subtractor device group hasn't changed. So that brings up a very important point. When you move devices around the rack, Reason does not automatically recable them. If I want to recable the reverb so it's now applying to the Thor device group, I need to first disconnect it from the subtractor and reconnect it to the Thor. Let's do that now. So there are 2 ways to disconnect a cable. We can just drag it out of the port, or we can control-click or right-click on the port and choose from the menu Disconnect. So once these cables are disconnected, I'll just drag these out, we can disconnect the chorus from the mixer and reconnect the outputs to the reverb. So let's do that now. We'll connect the output of the chorus to the inputs of the reverb. And now the outputs of the chorus will go to our mixer. And Reason is smart enough that when you connect the left, it connects the right. Now our subtractor chain is not connected to the mixer anymore, so we need to manually connect that. And one way is to drag it up. The other is to choose the port from the context menu. Any port that already has a cable in it has an asterisk next to it. We'll choose channel 1. So the subtractor goes through the phasor to the mixer, and our Thor now goes through the chorus flanger to the reverb, and then to the mixer. Now what happens if we delete a device in the middle of a device group? Let's delete the chorus. And once again, Command Delete will mean that I don't see that warning message. You'll notice that Reason cabled the Thor to the reverb. Reason is smart enough to recable things when you delete something in the middle of a device group. So it recabled the ends together, which is what we wanted it to do. One last point I want to make about auto routing. Let's select this device group, the Octarex and its 2 effects, and choose Duplicate Devices. So now we have 2 of these chains. But if we flip the rack over, we can see that the second Octarex is connected to the EQ and the maximizer, but that the maximizer is not connected to the mixer. So we need to either drag a cable up to our mixer or control-click the port and choose a mixer fader right from the menu. And now you can see the copied Dr. Octarex chain there. But there is a little shortcut so you don't have to do that. Let me undo the duplication, and this time when I duplicate the device group, I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and that will ask Reason to try and auto-connect or auto-route this device group. And sure enough, you can see that the maximizer is routed, and if we follow it up, it's routed to fader 4 on our mixer, just like we wanted. So that's a nice little trick. So to summarize the 3 things we learned in this video, first of all, when you move devices around the rack, Reason does not automatically change the routing. When you delete a device in the middle of a device group, Reason will do its best to connect the 2 ends together. And finally, when you duplicate a device group, Reason will not automatically apply auto-routing. If you want it to auto-route, you need to hold down the Shift key when you duplicate the device group. So, all in all, Reason does a pretty good job with auto-routing.